My name is Darlene Nanny, and I am the Division Secretary for Communications and Marketing.
I'm Michael Dittman. I'm an assistant professor of English here, and I'm being recognized for 10 years of full-time service.
Charla Anke. I'm the coordinator of institutional research, and I've been at BC3 for 10 years.
I am not from the Butler area. I am originally from Erie, Pennsylvania, and I came back here. I was out of state for a couple of years in Washington State, and we moved back here in 1993, and we came to Butler.
My first position at BC3 was an academic counselor for the Perkins Grant, so I was an academic advisor over in the Academic Center for Enrichment.
Actually, I started out here as a student back in 1994. And I was just part-time, and then I ended up going to school full-time.
I think what I like best about my job is the idea of sort of creating something new every time I go into the classroom. Right? I don't have the sort of, the horrible, untrue stereotype of professors with mimeograph notes from the 60s, and they're just sort of, reading it over and over again. Each semester in each class, I think, okay, I need to prepare 3 or 4 different ways to do things because I don't know which way the class is going to go. And that's really exciting to me. It's almost like giving a performance every day. I had a mentor when I was in grad school who said that a lot of what you do in the classroom is theater. And I really believe that, but it's more like improv, I think, because you have to be ready to go whichever way the class goes in order for it to be productive, or to see if it's going to be productive before you go, nah, I think we got to get back on this.
As the division secretary, I help to keep the executive director on task with things. I have to keep track of her calendar. I have to help the other co-workers in my office.
I've been in institutional research for 9 years of my 10 years here. It is definitely the complete opposite environment of working with students. I do get to interact with students on as I see them in the hall kind of basis, but not on a working relationship. The institutional research position is more data-driven. It is keeping up with the information and the reporting that is required for the institution, helping all departments across the college with any information they might need regarding students and staff and assessment and everything else that goes on.
The people here are so friendly and so nice, and it's almost like we're like a family, and it makes you feel good. I look forward to coming into work every day.
I continued returning here because of a variety of things. I think that at other institutions that I've taught at, there are huge layers of bureaucracy, and there are really tight silos where information doesn't get shared back and forth. There isn't a lot of opportunity. If you're hired at one place for one position, that's what you do. Here, it's not looser, but there's more opportunities to do really interesting things because there aren't silos or as many as I've encountered other places.
My proudest achievement would be going to school here and graduating. And I graduated summa cum laude, and I was a member of Phi Theta Kappa, and I worked very hard. So I guess my graduation was one of my proudest moments.
I like about my job knowing that even though it's behind the scenes, I know that I can help whenever possible and make sure that I can ensure that the college will continue to thrive and offer whatever information I can to support the goals and objectives of all of the other departments that are either working firsthand with students or other community members.
I love my coworkers. They're very interesting. They're a lot of fun to work with. I love all the trees. I love seeing the squirrels. They're so neat to watch sometimes. And seeing the kids and the students. And just seeing the things, how they've changed over the years. It's it's a very nice place to work.
So my funniest moment that I can remember is actually fairly recent. It's when the Student Life put up the April Fool's Tiger Ride posters. And I had this young woman as a student, and she's very intelligent, and she's very, she's very hipsterish, and she's very witty, and she's very ironic. And so it was really wonderful to have her ask me after class where the Tiger Rides were, how many tigers would be there, were they free? Did you have to pay? What sort of, and at first I thought she was joking, sort of being ironic, and then so I was like, well, I don't know. I think they're down by the baseball field, I think they're included in your tuition. And then at some point I realized, oh wow, she totally thinks there really are tiger rides, and so I didn't tell her otherwise, I just felt it's April Fool's, someone will catch on eventually. And then, so I thought, well, that's done. And that was on, I think a Tuesday was April Fool's. And then on a Thursday, I was chatting with her in the hall, and she said, I looked everywhere for those tigers, and I could not find them. I'm really sort of upset because they promised us tiger rides, so I think I'm going to go to Student Life. And I said, absolutely you should. I think that would be fantastic.
One of the things I bet most people would not know about me is that although I'm mostly quiet and reserved, one of my favorite types of music to listen to is heavy metal. I have a hard time with names of groups. That's not one thing I've ever been good at. Some of my favorites are Metallica and that time frame. That is thanks to my husband getting me interested in it.
I bet you didn't know that that I swim competitively in a master's program, which I like to refer to as old fat guys in tight pants. But and that I qualified for nationals 3 years ago in the mile swim.
Most people know that I am a scrapbooker, and but what they probably don't know is that I used to paint ceramics, where you would actually clean the greenware, and then you'd have to fire it, and then you'd have to paint it and do things. I have a couple pieces actually in the office that I've painted. One's like a little house, a little cottage, and then there's a vase. And I'm really proud of those because they were a lot of work. Mixing colors and dry brushing, and it was just very creative. I love doing it. And that's something I would really like to get back to.